Welcome into teeing off our Marathon Classic special. For the next 30 minutes, we will be getting you set for the 34th playing here in Northwest Ohio of the LPGA tournament that once was the Jamie Farr and is now the Marathon Classic. It has been a beautiful week so far, and tomorrow morning we get this thing going for real. We have a great team working on this show with you. I am Jordan Strack. We are at Highland Meadows. Christy Kopanis is with me out here as well. She is out on the 18th green right now. And Dan Cummins, who has covered every single one of these tournaments since 1984, is back in our WTOL 11 studios. We will hear from them both in just a couple minutes. We will also hear from Christy Lee, and we will hear the weather forecast here today from Robert Shields. All right, let's take a look back first at 2018 before we get this 2019 tournament started. It was an unbelievable final day a year ago here at Highland Meadows. It went down to the wire. It was a playoff between Brittany Lincecum and Jasmine Sawanapura. After Brooke Henderson struggled down the stretch, she did not make it in there. So it goes to that playoff, and Brittany Lincecum, coming up 18, would hit her approach shot into the water. That would open it up for Sawanapura. She would go on to win this thing. It was her first career victory. So who could come out and win this week? Let's take a look at some of the names that might have a shot to win this thing here in 2019. One of them, Brooke Henderson, of course, just 21 years old. She already has 9 victories on her career. Earlier this year, that 9th victory clinched her as the winningest Canadian golfer, male or female, of all time. So many people reached out to her after that big win, and she is very appreciative for it. She did have that heartbreak here last year, but still, like I said, 21 years old and has the second most wins on tour since 2016.
Earlier this year when I got my 8th win, and that was to tie the record, I thought that was pretty cool. And, I was sort of hoping my 9th win would come kind of quickly and kind of take the pressure off. And to get the 9th win is really special. To make history in Canada is awesome. And, to have Prime Minister Trudeau reach out and so many other amazing athletes and people reach out, it's just sort of surreal, but it's a lot of fun.
Another name that could come out and win this thing, Lexi Thompson, one of the biggest names of anybody here in Northwest Ohio this week. She is the top American on the money list. She has made over $1.1 million this year alone. She has been close here before. She has 4 top 20s in her career at the Marathon Classic. Of course, she's a fan favorite. She will have huge crowds following her around all week long, and she's hoping for her this will be the first time she can walk away as a winner.
Well, first off, of course, it's in great shape for us once again. I think that's what the players love about coming here to Toledo, and we have great fans here. But I just love being here. It's a very easy week for me. It's a good layout course-wise. It just requires a lot of birdies, and I think if I just make those putts out there and hit those good iron shots into the greens, I'll make some birdies out there.
Those are just a couple of the names that we will certainly have our eye on this week. Let's get over to Christy Kopanis. She is out on the 18th green right now with a story of a golfer you may not know and her caddy who has a Toledo tie. Hi, Christy.
Hi, Jordan. Yeah, Annie Park has been in contention kind of each of the last 3 years. She's made the cut and then been up there on the leaderboard. But when it comes to that final day, never been truly one of the top 2 groups. But she's hoping this year is her year, and she has a new caddy, and it's a familiar face. Josh Williams, some of you may recognize him. He lived in Sylvania in 2008 to 2010. Josh played for the Toledo Cherokee. He has family that lives in Perrysburg, and Josh has been Annie's caddy for about a year now, so the relationship between them is building. Annie and Josh will have a cheering section following them around all weekend.
It's always nice to have a support system, and it'll be nice to have his friends and family supporting this week. So I guess it's a little bit of a kick to the mojo.
I love it. I tell Annie that it's like a hometown event for me. I know so many people here, so I just love coming back. Well, it makes me want to go stay back home with the Cooks and the Eastons. I hope they hear this. No, it's nice. My uncle lives down in Perrysburg, so everything's like home this week for me.
So if you see a big crowd following Annie and Josh around, you will know why. Jordan, I'll send it back to you.
All right, Christy, thanks so much. We will certainly keep an eye out for Annie Park this week. Well, today is Wednesday. That means Pro-Am Day. One of the guys playing out there today, Jason Candle, the head football coach at the University of Toledo. But there was also another guy in his group that has a really cool story. We will welcome in Dan Cummins now, and he has that story. Hi, Dan.
Hi, Jordan. Over the years since 1984, that was the first Marathon Classic. We've had a lot of memorable celebrity amateurs. You had Steve Yzerman, Urban Meyer, Ben Roethlisberger, Charles Barkley. You probably have never heard of Dan Nevins, but he's an inspiration to all of us, an ambassador for the Wounded Warrior Project.
Ooh, push it right.
Yeah! No pressure, partner.
Dan lost his legs and his best friend in Iraq, an IED blast in 2004 during the Battle of Fallujah. Took him a while to recover from his injuries physically and emotionally. Dan had never played golf at all before. He took it up during his rehab process.
My therapist recommended golf as therapy to, hey, because I was saving my right leg in the process. And well, how can you bear weight but not too much weight and get your balance? And she's like, swing a golf club. And so I was swinging a golf club in therapy. Are you from here? Or you just come to school? Okay, got it. Yeah, it's not too far. And then I was like, well, this is dumb. I want to go hit balls. So Wounded Warrior Project would drive me to Olney Golf Park in Maryland and hit golf balls, all day long, thousands of golf balls. And then I was like, well, why do it here? Like, let me go to a golf course. Because I'd never really played golf before. And maybe a handful of times, but it wasn't pretty.
Now he travels the world as a motivating speaker, encouraging veterans and all of us how to be better people, better neighbors.
But for people, for like everyone that could possibly, they're in their homes and maybe they have some wounded warriors in their community that they know are returning, what they can do is treat them like everybody else and invite them into their communities. See, that's, we leave the military community and it's such a tight-knit group that even the military members themselves, the veterans, feel like, well, that's the only place they belong. And so it's up to us who are living lives and thriving in our communities to make them feel like they belong where they are.
Dan was playing golf in a foursome with UT Rockets coach Jason Candle, of course, as we said, and his caddy was quarterback Mitch Guadani. Well, Jordan, I've done a lot of veteran stories. This was very encouraging. He says the VA is doing a much better job in handling care for all of our wounded warriors. Back to you at Highland Meadows.
Dan, thanks so much with a truly inspiring story out here today. All right, let's get back to the golf now. And another fan favorite out here, of course, every single year is Stacy Lewis. But this year she comes to us as a new mom. And of course, she has plenty of new babysitters here in town. Her family and friends all surrounding her this week. Here's part of my conversation with her. Your life has changed a lot since you were here a year ago. What has life been like now with a little one?
Life has been busy. It's hard to believe this time last year we were having a baby shower and this was my last tournament, but it's gone by so fast and life is very different, very busy. Just not sleeping as much, which is okay, but it's amazing. Chesney's awesome and she's starting to be a little bit more interactive, so it's been a lot of fun.
How are you adjusting to life as a mom and trying to figure out timing schedules and things like that?
It's an adjustment. And we're just trying stuff. You try stuff every day to make it work and get through every day. That's kind of my motto, is just let's worry about today and we'll worry about tomorrow. And just you're exhausted at the end of every day, but it's so worth it to have her out here, to be able to travel with me and to see what I do, even though she's not going to remember it. Maybe one day she will.
Is a week like this a little bit different because you got some babysitters around and family gets to hang out and all those kind of things?
I do. I have a lot more help. I get to relax a little bit more when everybody's together because she has so many people to play with. And but it's so much fun for the family to get to see her grow up and see her change. We were together at the beach a few weeks ago, so. It's just such a fun week of everybody together, and even more special now that, bringing Chesney to this tournament where I came, as a little kid growing up. I was thinking about that today on the golf course.
Stacy Lewis playing tomorrow morning. She will tee off bright and early, 8:32 a.m. She is in the same group as Brooke Henderson. All right, we are taking our first break here on our Marathon Classic preview show. Coming up, we will talk to you about the weather and what it's going to be like all week long. Robert Shields will join us. That's coming up after the break. We are teeing off at the Marathon Classic. You are looking live right now out on the 18th green here at Highland Meadows. The Pro-Am going on still. Some golfers finishing up their rounds right now on number 18. The real thing will get started coming up here tomorrow morning, bright and early. Welcome back in. It was a very hot Wednesday for this Pro-Am. Will that continue throughout the weekend? Chief Meteorologist Robert Shields joining us now with a look at what the weather will be like for the rest of the tournament. Hello, Robert.
Hi there, Jordan. I'm sure you'd like it a little less steamy than today. Not only in the 90s, but the dew point's up at 71, and there is going to be some relief on the way. Now, overnight, there may be an isolated shower, but tomorrow looks like a quiet day. It's still going to be humid, but not as hot, and a nice breeze picks up out of the west. May actually even be challenging for the golfers in the first round with a high of 86. Friday, brilliant sunshine and 85. You'll be seeking shade under the beautiful trees out there. And on Saturday, a dry day begins to heat up and culminating with Sunday, where the humidity level will be climbing again. Highs will reach around 90 on Sunday, maybe low 90s, very similar to today, and a 30% chance of a shower or a thunderstorm. All in all, a fantastic setting. It looks like a really great 4 days for golf out there, Jordan.
All right, Robert, thank you so much. Looking forward to it. Well, one of those golfers that will be dealing with the weather is Lizzie Wynn, a Toledo native. Went to St. Ursula, of course. She's still in college, just 20 years old. She's playing at Seton Hall University, and on Monday, she came out and surprised a lot of people by winning the Monday qualifier and punching her ticket here into the Marathon Classic. What's realistic this week? Where do you put your expectations when you know that you're an amateur who won the Monday qualifier and all those kind of things?
You know, my game is in a really solid place right now, and so I think realistically, like, making the cut is it's doable for me. Yesterday I played really well at Slovenia. I've been striking the ball really well, putting really well. So I think this week that's the goal. I mean, who says I can't win? Obviously, that's a pretty bold statement to say, but shoot a couple under every day. You never know what could happen.
When you're walking around here now, do you almost feel like you belong? Like you can play at this level and you can really compete? Yeah, you know, I kind of had that feeling last year. Obviously, it took me a couple holes to get into the groove of things, but I eventually got there, and because it's my home course, you know, I feel like I'm at home because I am at home. And so for the second time coming out here, it almost feels natural, and I think that's definitely going to help me going forward. She really, truly earned her way into this field. What was that like for you?
You know, I didn't even really think about it. We just wanted to go out and put a solid round of golf together. Never talked about scores, never really talked about the field. Really just let's go out and take it literally one shot at a time. I know that sounds horribly cliche, but it really is the truth. And just had fun doing it. It was a good day all around.
Lizzie Wynn will be teeing off tomorrow morning right around 9 a.m. here from Highland Meadows. Another young up-and-coming golfer that will be here is Yelimi No. Christy Kopanis joins us now with more on her story.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yelimi No is making a splash on the LPGA scene. She's only 17 years old, but if you watch her play, man, she sure doesn't play like it. Last weekend, she played in the LPGA tournament in Wisconsin. She shot 23 under and finished in 6th place. What an incredible weekend for her. She felt like she was really playing some of her best golf. She got a sponsor's exemption for the Marathon Classic just before she teed off her 3rd round. She's hoping she can take some of that momentum into this weekend.
Oh, I was so excited. It was like right before my 3rd round started, and I was just like, oh, this is a great way to start the day, and I'm just so grateful that they invited me. I'm super thankful to finally like keep on playing and just kind of get a taste of what it's like, you know, for the tour players week after week. It gives me a lot of confidence, and I hope to play at somewhat close to what I did last week and just keep that feeling momentum going, and then hopefully play well this week too.
So only 17 years old and already starting to make a name for herself. Jordan, just imagine what she's going to do in the next couple years.
All right, Christy, thanks so much. When we come back, this golf tournament about so much more than just golf. They are helping so many in the community. We'll have that story when we return. Welcome back into teeing off the Marathon Classic. I am Jordan Strack. Well, since 1984, this tournament has been providing so much entertainment to so many in our community. But maybe most importantly, it's the work they've done away from the golf course, helping 180 charities. Christy Lee has more.
Back in January, Dan Gose says his whole world was turned upside down.
I remember getting home from work the one evening, and I could hear him screaming and crying from out in the driveway. He was unable to walk, Carried him into the emergency room that morning on January 26th.
Dan's 3-year-old son, Braylon, had been getting sick repeatedly.
There was instant blood work taken. That blood work came back a couple hours. I was pulled aside by the doctor and unfortunately heard that word that I didn't want to hear, which was leukemia.
Being from Genoa, Dan thought he could do without the Ronald McDonald House, make the drives back and forth.
There was 2 straight weeks of fever, so 104 degrees and over, and there was nothing we could do to break it. It's part of the process, especially with the killing of the leukemia cell.
Dan now says the home became his saving grace.
Day one, Elisa, who was in charge over there, she met me at the door. She knew who I was as I walked through the door and had never met me before. And I remember her just wrapping her arms around me, giving me a hug, and welcoming me to that house. And it's so hard to put into words what they actually do there. To give you a place to put your head down, to take a shower, to go back at night, to have a place to lay in bed, to wash your clothes.
Ronald McDonald House makes every effort to make sure these families are comfortable in their own private spaces. But what happens outside of these rooms is even more healing, connecting with other families facing uncertain times.
I think it's helpful. Helps you realize it's not just you and your child that is in this situation. There are other people out there. You're able to share those stories, and not just up here, but over at the Ronald McDonald House when you're eating dinner, and be able to talk about how your child's doing, how their child's doing. A lot of these kids are actually friends up here and spend a lot of time together.
Chad Bringman, president of the Ronald McDonald House, says the support of the Marathon Classic is a key part to its funding. The organization survives on donations so that families like Dan, his wife, and son Braylon don't have to pay for anything during such difficult times.
It's just creating a lot more outreach than we were before. So the Marathon Classic is, like I said, certainly part of our DNA.
As for Braylon,
it's hard to say that it's draining for me because he's the one going through this every day. It's beyond anything I could have ever imagined.
Dan says Braylon just finished his last chemotherapy.
We're waiting until he's in his recovery stage right now, so we're hoping within a week or 2 he'll be released. From there, it'll be constant blood work about once a month, and we just pray that he doesn't go back and relapse.
Last year, the Marathon Classic donated $50,000 to the Ronald McDonald House. Christy Lee, WTOL 11.
Christy, thank you so much. Ronald McDonald House doing so much good in this community, and the Marathon Classic certainly helping out a ton of local charities over the 34 years. All right, we are taking another break. When we come back, we will continue to get you set for tomorrow's round 1 here from Highland Meadows. Stick with us. Welcome back out to Highland Meadows as we get you set for round 1 of the Marathon Classic coming tomorrow. Jordan Strack and Christy Kopanis with you here from the golf course. And Christy joins us now with another story about one of the up-and-coming young golfers.
Yeah, it just seems like there's so many young golfers. And I have another one for you. Erica Shepard. She just graduated high school and she will head to Duke in the fall for golf. But before she gets on campus, she has some work to do here in the Marathon Classic. She received a sponsor's exemption last week. The 2-time USGA champion, she is incredible to watch. I saw her with an iPad in one hand and a phone in another, coming off of 9 on her practice round yesterday. So I asked her what she was doing. She was scheduling classes. So she went in the clubhouse, scheduled her classes, and then teed off the back 9. A little stressful for her, but she's done a good job at balancing it all.
It's pretty stressful, but hopefully I can play well under stress and get that all taken care of and start tomorrow with a fresh mind. Getting experience playing against the best in the world and where I want to be in 4 years just shows me what I needed to do to prepare to just be on the right track for it.
And she got all of her classes scheduled, no worries, so that stress is off of her plate. Now she can focus solely on scoring in the Marathon Classic. Jordan, I'll send it back to you.
All right, Christy, thank you so much. It feels like, yes, we do have a run of some young studs out here playing this year in the Marathon Classic. All right, that is going to do it for us here from the golf course. Remember, coming up tomorrow morning, starting bright and early, 7:15 a.m., they will tee off for round 1, and we go through the weekend. We will have you covered the entire way. Make sure you stay with us. WTOL 11 News at 6 is coming up next.